The discovered Elena Rodriguez pressed her palm against the observation deck window of Research Station Olympus, watching the red surface of Mars rotate slowly beneath them. The station orbited at the perfect altitude to study the massive shield volcano that gave it its name. For 3 years, she had been searching for signs of ancient life in the planet's geological records. What she had found instead was something far more extraordinary. The quantum scanner beeped softly behind her, displaying readings that should have been impossible. Elena turned away from the breathtaking view of Olympus Mons and walked back to her workstation. The data streams showed the same anomalous pattern they had been detecting for weeks now. Deep beneath the Martian surface, something was generating quantum field fluctuations unlike anything in their textbooks. Captain Marcus Chen entered the laboratory with his usual measured stride. The station commander was a man who believed in facts over speculation, but even he could not ignore what their instruments were telling them. His weathered face carried the expression of someone who had seen too much to dismiss anything outright. Still showing the same readings? Marcus asked, looking over Elena's shoulder at the display screens. Elena nodded, brushing a strand of dark hair from her face. The pattern is getting stronger, Marcus. Whatever is down there has been active for a very long time. The quantum decay signatures suggest this thing has been operating for at least 50,000 years. Dr. James Okafor looked up from his own console across the room. The quantum physicist had been running calculations all morning, trying to make sense of the impossible data. His usually cheerful demeanor had been replaced by deep concentration and growing excitement. Elena's right, James said, his Nigerian accent thick with enthusiasm. But I think 50,000 years is a conservative estimate. Some of these quantum signatures could be much older. We might be looking at technology that predates human civilization by hundreds of thousands of years. Sarah Kim, the station's chief engineer, spun around in her chair. The young Korean-American woman had been monitoring the technical aspects of their discovery with growing concern. Her expertise in advanced propulsion systems made her uniquely qualified to understand what they were seeing. The energy output alone should be impossible, Sarah said, pointing to her readouts. Whatever is generating these fields is putting out more power than our entire fusion reactor, and it's been doing it continuously for millennia. The engineering required for that level of sustained operation is beyond anything we can build. Marcus studied the combined data from all 3 specialists. As a former military pilot turned research station commander, he had learned to trust the expertise of his team. But the implications of what they were discovering made him deeply uncomfortable. First contact protocols existed for a reason, and they were far from Earth if something went wrong. Elena pulled up a 3-dimensional map of the subsurface anomaly. The quantum signatures painted a picture of a massive structure buried deep within Olympus Mons itself. The object was roughly cylindrical, stretching for several kilometers through the solid rock of the ancient volcano. The structure appears to be artificial, Elena explained, manipulating the holographic display. The geometric patterns are too regular for natural formation. But here's what really caught my attention. She highlighted a specific section of the buried object. The quantum field density was highest at this point, creating a bright pulse in their visualization that repeated in a steady rhythm. It's not just active, Elena continued. It's broadcasting. The quantum fields are propagating outward in all directions. But there's a focused beam that extends beyond Mars' atmosphere. It's aimed at a specific point in deep space. James leaned forward, his eyes widening as he processed the implications. You mean it's sending a signal? To what? Sarah pulled up her own analysis of the directional broadcast. I've been tracking the beam's trajectory for the past week. It's pointed toward the Vega system, approximately 25 light-years away. But here's the strange part. The beam isn't continuous. It pulses in a complex pattern that repeats every 73 hours. Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. In his military days, he had learned to recognize the difference between natural phenomena and artificial signals. This had all the hallmarks of a deliberately constructed message. "We need to inform Earth Command immediately," Marcus said. "If this is some kind of alien communication device, it falls under first contact protocols." Alina shook her head. "Marcus, think about what we're saying. If this thing has been broadcasting for thousands of years, and it's aimed at Vega, then either it's trying to contact someone 25 light-years away, or it already has," James finished quietly. The laboratory fell silent as the implications sank in. If the alien device had been sending signals to Vega for millennia, and if there was someone there to receive them, then humanity might not be alone in the universe. More concerning, whoever or whatever was at Vega might know about Earth's location. Sarah turned back to her instruments with renewed urgency. "I'm going to recalibrate our long-range sensors. If something responded to these signals, we need to know about it." Over the next several hours, the team worked with an intensity born of both excitement and fear. Alina compiled all their geological data, building a complete picture of the buried structure. James ran quantum field analysis, trying to understand the technology that could operate unchanged for so long. Sarah focused on the communication aspects, attempting to decode the signal patterns. Marcus coordinated their efforts while preparing REPORTS for Earth Command. The protocols for potential alien contact were clear, but they had never expected to discover evidence of non-human technology within their own solar system. As the Martian day cycle progressed, their discoveries became more remarkable and more disturbing. The alien structure was not just broadcasting, it was also receiving. Faint return signals were detectable, coming from the direction of Vega. The conversation had been going on for thousands of years, and humanity had stumbled into the middle of it. Alina made the most unsettling discovery when she cross-referenced the signal timing with historical astronomical data. The pattern of broadcasts had changed 3 times in recorded history, always coinciding with major developments in human civilization. The most recent change had occurred in 1969, the year humans first set foot on the moon. "It's been watching us," Alina whispered, staring at her data. "Whoever built this thing has been monitoring human development for centuries." James looked up from his quantum analysis, his face pale. "Alina, you need to see this. I've been studying the quantum field patterns, and they're not just complex, they're adaptive. The signal is changing in real time, responding to our presence here." Sarah's instruments suddenly came alive with new activity. Alarms began sounding throughout the laboratory as her sensors detected massive changes in the buried structure's energy output. The quantum beacon, dormant for decades, was awakening. Marcus activated the station's emergency communications array, establishing a direct link with Earth Command. "This is Research Station Olympus with a Priority 1 alert. We have discovered evidence of non-human intelligence and technology on Mars. The structure is showing signs of activation. Request immediate guidance and support." The response from Earth would take several minutes to arrive, but they could not wait. The alien beacon was coming online, and its signal was growing stronger by the minute. Whatever it had been trying to accomplish for millennia was finally about to happen. Alina watched the readouts with a mixture of terror and fascination. Humanity had always wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now they were about to find out, and the answer was coming from their own backyard. The ancient guardian, buried in Mars, had been waiting patiently for this moment, and now its watch was ending. The beacon's signal suddenly intensified, creating a pulse of energy that could be detected from orbit. Sarah's instruments showed the quantum beams stretching out into space, carrying a message that would take 25 years to reach its destination. But as they watched, something impossible happened. "Marcus," Sarah called out, her voice tight. With disbelief, "I'm detecting a response signal. It's coming from the Vega system, but that's impossible. Even at light speed, any response should take 50 years round trip." James ran to his quantum field analyzers, trying to understand what they were observing. Unless they're not using light-speed communication. If this is some kind of quantum entanglement network, messages could be instantaneous across any distance. The implications hit them all at once. If the aliens at Vega had quantum communication technology, they had already received the beacon's activation signal. More importantly, they were already responding. After thousands of years of patient waiting, the Watchers in the Vega system knew that humanity had finally discovered their Mars outpost. Marcus realized that everything was about to change. Whatever came next would determine the future of human civilization. The beacon's activation would either herald humanity's introduction to a galactic community, or mark the beginning of their greatest challenge. First Contact Protocol, the response from Earth. Command arrived exactly 14 minutes and 37 seconds after Marcus's priority alert. Director Sarah Chun's voice carried the authority of someone who had spent decades preparing for this moment, even though nobody had truly believed it would come. Research Station, Olympus. This is Earth's command, Director Chen. You are authorized to proceed with preliminary investigation under First Contact Protocol Alpha. Do not attempt direct communication with the alien structure. Maintain safe distance. And continue monitoring. Additional support is being mobilized. Marcus acknowledged the transmission while watching his team work frantically around him. The alien beacon's energy output had stabilized at levels that made their fusion reactor look like a flashlight by comparison. Whatever was happening inside Olympus Mons was beyond human technology by several orders of magnitude. Alina had not looked away from her instruments since the beacon activated. Her xenorchaeology background had prepared her to study dead civilizations, not active alien technology. But the data flowing across her screens was rewriting everything humanity thought they knew about their place in the universe. The structure is definitely responding to our presence, Alina reported. But it's not just activation, it's transformation. The quantum signatures show internal changes happening at the molecular level. It's like the whole thing is reconfiguring itself. James wiped sweat from his forehead as he struggled to keep up with the readings. His quantum field analyzers were detecting phenomena that violated several fundamental laws of physics. The energy patterns suggested technology that manipulated space-time itself. "I'm reading quantum tunnel formations throughout the structure," James said, his voice strained with concentration. "Whatever this technology is, it's creating shortcuts through space-time. That explains how they can communicate instantly with Vega." Sarah had established a comprehensive sensor network around Mars, using every available satellite and probe to monitor the situation. Her engineering mind was trying to understand systems that operated on principles humanity had not yet discovered. The Beacon isn't just sending signals anymore, Sarah announced. It's creating some kind of dimensional gateway. I'm detecting spatial distortions around the structure that are growing larger by the hour. Marcus felt the weight of command settling on his shoulders. His decisions in the next few hours could determine whether humanity made peaceful contact with an alien civilization or stumbled into an interstellar conflict. The protocols were clear about maintaining defensive positions, but they said nothing about ancient alien structures activating inside the solar system. The next development came without warning. Sarah's long-range sensors detected massive energy, signatures appearing at the edge of the solar system near Pluto's orbit. The readings were consistent with spacecraft, but on a scale that dwarfed anything humans had ever built. "Commander," Sarah called out, her voice tight with controlled panic. "I'm reading multiple large objects decelerating from near light speed. They're heading directly toward the inner solar system." Alina looked up from her instruments, her face pale. "How many objects?" Sarah ran the calculations twice before answering. "At least 50 distinct signatures, each one the size of a small city. They'll reach Mars orbit in approximately 72 hours at their current deceleration rate." James was studying the quantum communication patterns with growing amazement. The beacon is actively guiding them. It's not just a signal relay, it's a navigation system. These ships have been traveling for years, maybe decades, using the beacon as a lighthouse. Marcus activated the emergency protocols, sending coded transmissions to Earth Command and every human installation in the solar system. If 50 alien spacecraft were approaching Mars, humanity needed to know immediately. The peaceful exploration mission had suddenly become a potential first. Contact scenario with an alien fleet. Alina made a connection that chilled her to the bone. "Marcus, I've been analyzing the historical signal patterns. The beacon's behavior changes weren't random. They were responses to human space exploration milestones. First moon landing, first Mars landing, first permanent space colonies. It's been reporting our progress to someone." The implications were staggering. For decades, possibly centuries, humanity had been under observation by an alien intelligence. Every major achievement in space exploration had been catalogued and transmitted to distant watchers. The beacon was not just a communication device. It was a surveillance system. Sarah's instruments detected new activity from the Martian structure. The spatial distortions are intensifying. "I think it's preparing to create a larger gateway, something big enough for spacecraft to pass through." James ran to his quantum analyzers, trying to understand what they were witnessing. If they can create stable wormholes, they could bring their entire fleet directly to Mars without crossing normal space. "We might not have 72 hours, Marcus made the hardest decision of his career. "All stations, prepare for emergency evacuation. If this situation becomes hostile, we need to be ready to abandon the station within 30 minutes. But Alina was studying her archaeological data with renewed purpose. "Wait, Marcus. I don't think they're invaders. Look at the beacon's construction. It's built into the mountain, designed to be permanent. This isn't a weapon or a scout probe. It's infrastructure." James caught on to Elena's reasoning. "A way station. If you're traveling between star systems, you need navigation beacons and communication relays. Mars might be just one stop on a much larger network." Sarah added her own analysis. "The approaching ships are decelerating in formation, not attacking configuration. Their flight patterns suggest they're following established approach routes." Marcus felt a glimmer of hope. If the aliens were using established procedures rather than attack formations, It suggested they were following some kind of protocol, but the scale of their technology still made humanity helplessly outmatched in any conflict. The next few hours passed in tense preparation. Earth Command mobilized every available military asset, but everyone knew that human weapons would be useless against technology that could manipulate space-time. The best they could hope for was to make peaceful contact and hope for benevolent intentions. Alina made the breakthrough that changed everything. Deep in the geological data from Olympus Mons, she found traces of similar quantum signatures scattered. Across Mars, the beacon was not alone. It was part of a network that spanned the planet. There are at least 12 other installations, Alina reported with growing excitement. All dormant until now, but they're starting to activate in response to the primary beacon. Mars isn't just hosting alien technology, it's an alien facility. James expanded on her discovery. Not just a facility, a port. These installations are designed to support large-scale operations, refueling, repairs, communication, navigation. Mars is a stopover point for interstellar travelers. Sarah's sensors confirmed their hypothesis. I'm detecting massive infrastructure beneath the Martian surface. Power networks, transportation systems, what looks like manufacturing facilities. All of it dormant for thousands of years, but beginning to come online. Marcus realized that humanity had not just discovered alien technology, they had found an abandoned alien city. The approaching fleet was not coming to invade Earth. They were coming home to Mars, expecting to find their ancient way station ready and waiting. The first visual contact came when Sarah's telescopes finally resolved the approaching spacecraft. The ships were beautiful, constructed from materials that seemed to bend light around them. They moved with graceful efficiency, their forms suggesting both advanced engineering and artistic sensibility. They're magnificent, Alina whispered, watching the alien vessels approach through the enhanced telescopic display. Look at the way they're arranged. It's not a military formation, it's ceremonial. They're celebrating something. James was monitoring the quantum communications between the fleet and the Martian beacon. The message patterns have changed completely. Before, it was simple navigation data. Now, it's complex, almost like conversation. They're excited about something. Sarah made the final connection that revealed the truth. The beacon isn't just guiding them to Mars. It's telling them about us, about humanity. We're not witnessing an invasion or even a return journey. We're witnessing first contact from their perspective. Marcus felt the situation shift from potential crisis to historic opportunity. The alien fleet had not come to conquer. They had come to meet humanity. The ancient beacon had been their introduction, preparing both species for this moment across thousands of years. As the first alien ship entered Mars orbit, its quantum signature harmonized with the planetary beacon network. The entire planet began to glow with soft energy patterns visible from orbit. Mars was transforming back into what it had always been intended to be, a meeting place between the stars. The greatest adventure in human history was about to begin, and it was happening not on some distant world, but in humanity's own backyard. The aliens had been patient, watching and waiting until humans were ready for contact. That time had finally come.